Fox News Alert ABC has canceled Roseanne after her racist comments about former Obama aide Valerie Jarrett, calling her comments abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values. Kevin Cate is founder of Cate and a former Obama Florida campaign spokesman, and David Hoppy, former chief of staff for Speaker of the House Paul Ryan. I know we were going to talk about other things today, but breaking news happens always around 1:58 p.m., so we're switching topics because this is pretty big news. Let me start with you, Kevin. I don't know if you knew Valerie Jarrett based on your experience in working with the Obama team, but this seemed like it not only crossed a line for people in the Obama camp, but all across America, and ABC was quick to react. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you have to give credit to ABC. I mean, this was a show that was making them money. A lot of people watched it, and I know they addressed some issues that people wanted to talk about, including opioids and other kind of sensitive issues for a large segment of the population. But ABC moved fast. I think you said it right. I mean, these tweets were just, I can't describe how awful they were.
Kevin, hold on a second.
Racist.
Let me ask, do we have the original tweet that she put up? Not yet. Okay. As soon as we get that, I'm gonna bring it up for you. I want to make sure I quote it accurately. She had tweeted a lot recently, David, about Chelsea Clinton, George Soros, today Valerie Jarrett. As a political matter, when you're looking at something like this, you know, you make a tough, big decision. But politics and corporate America are really converging. Lots of examples even today. The NFL, Starbucks, and now here with Roseanne being canceled after this tweet. What do you think about that in terms of the speed with which ABC reacted?
Well, I think, Dana, they were right to react and react quickly. Sometimes, and seems often, I have to say, on Twitter, people engage their mouth and their finger before they engage their mind and say things that are deplorable. This is just beyond the pale, and they reacted correctly. There's a lot of people, as you pointed out just a minute ago, who are going to suffer for this, who had nothing to do with it because they've lost their jobs now. Yeah. And just sit down and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, for heaven's sakes. Don't engage your mouth or your finger before you engage your brain.
Kevin, do you think there's a larger point here about the divide? You know, her show was very popular, but really, I don't think it was just because of her, but it was about the subject matter and the characters that they were talking about on the show, which were people in middle class America, the ones that we sometimes refer to as in flyover country, where I grew up. And is there something to be said there about an opening for either the right or the left to start paying more attention to them, whether it be in entertainment, but certainly in politics?
Well, I think all political campaigns should pay attention to anybody, regardless of where they're from. But I think what this speaks to is how people are just becoming sick of the vitriol that they see on Twitter. Imagine, for instance, if the president was held to a similar standard to Roseanne today based on some comments he's made about immigrants and other issues. I think maybe Twitter would be a better place for my kids to go to, for other people to see. So I do think that it's important to talk to those working class voters, but it's also important, like ABC did today, to say that it's not okay to make these kind of repulsive comments.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan, David, of people that are on Twitter. Some people on Twitter just need to put it down and use the rule of if you think you want to say something, say it out loud to your friend. Don't necessarily put it on Twitter. But what about this idea that it will be inevitable that because Roseanne's character on the show did support President Trump, that there will be some sort of attempt to make a correlation between the two? But as Brett Baer said, is it going to be possible for people to try to separate these two things and see her as somebody who acted solo and alone? Nobody was tweeting for Roseanne Barr. She was doing it herself. Yeah,
she was not doing it as a character on a show. She was doing it as Roseanne Barr. I'm sorry, people have to stop and think they are separate. These are very different things. You may like or dislike some of the things President Trump says in his tweets, but what Roseanne Barr did today is Roseanne Barr's alone to take responsibility for, and nobody else's.
I actually now just got the original Roseanne tweet from this morning. She has since deleted it, but here it is. It says, Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby, and it equals VJ. She was referring to Valerie Jarrett. That was the original tweet, Kevin, that started the ball rolling that ABC quickly acted on. Your thoughts on that particular tweet?
I hope it's the last time we see it on TV. I mean, it's that bad. it's hard to explain some of these people, they're dedicated public servants, and like David and you have said, sometimes people just need to put the phone down and take a second and think about their own prejudice.
Also, let's talk for a moment, David, about those decisions that people in power or leadership or in management sometimes make, and it affects a lot of other people. You worked on Capitol Hill for a long time and ran that as the chief of staff on the House side for the Republicans. I mean, you've seen it before where a lapse in judgment by one person might mean that that congressman or congresswoman has to resign, but you do have a lot of people underneath you as a leader that are supporting you, working their butts off for you, then all of a sudden they find out they don't have a job.
From time to time, everybody moves a little too quickly, and my advice oftentimes was just slow down, take a deep breath, and think about what you're doing. Think through it out loud, think through it in your mind, think through it, as you said, as if you're talking to a friend, and stop for just a moment. The world's not going to change in the 10 or 12 or 15 seconds or 30 seconds it takes for you to think about what you're doing. And none of us are safe from it, which is why we all ought to remember, just take a little time, breathe out, and think through what you're putting down on paper, what you're putting down on Twitter, into the Twitter universe. Those are things that you can't get back, and they do express something. If you don't want to express it, then don't. Stop yourself.
Yeah, that's great advice. I do have the apology that Roseanne tweeted as well. She said, Kevin, she said, I apologize to Valerie Jarrett and to all Americans. I am truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me, my joke was in bad taste. The problem I have with that is that if it was a joke initially, well, first of all, that's not even a joke. But if you are trying to use the excuse that something is a joke because you're a comedian, do you think that that will actually pass muster with the people she's apologizing to?
I mean, it's hard to say, given our kind of divisive nature of politics right now. I'm sure people are out there already defending her, and I think it's tough to say right now, but I do think it's important that the society as a whole, everybody here on your show today, you've been in a press office, you know what it's like when somebody says something they shouldn't, nothing even close to something like this, but she shouldn't have said it. She knows she shouldn't have said it. We've seen comedians held accountable in the past. I mean, Kramer, I believe, from Seinfeld, obviously was kind of blackballed for some comments he made as well. So something can be funny without being racist, and nothing racist is funny.
I think that's a good place to end it. All right, David and Kevin, thank you for being with me today.